Dann let's go.
Dear Esther, I've lost track of how long I've been here and how many visits I have made overall. Certainly the landmarks are now so familiar to me that I have to remind myself to actually see the forms and shapes in front of me. I could stumble blind across these rocks, the edges of these precipices, without fear of missing my step and plummeting down to sea. Besides, I've always considered that if one is to fall, it is critical to keep one's eyes firmly open.
Ah, lol. Ich kann mich schon bewegen. Okay. Auf dieser Toilette ist lange schon niemand mehr gewesen. Ist jemand lesen? Oh, warte, ich kann ranzoomen. And sweetness and honesty, keine Ahnung was. Find happiness together in a yogurt, okay. Weiß jemand, was das für eine Verbindung ist? Ganz viel H, O, Kohlenstoff, Wasserstoff und ein bisschen Sauerstoff. Okay. Das ist die Deutsche Bahn. Nee, ich glaube nicht. Bahn? Weiß ich nicht. Ich bin kein Chemiker. Hier unten wäre eine Sackgasse gewesen. Oh, hier oben ist aber... Okay. Wir haben keine Füße.
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
Mal wäre 13. Ethan 2, okay. Oh. Hier runter wollte ich jetzt eigentlich nicht. Ist hier hinten vielleicht noch was? Da geht's wieder hoch. Aber auf der falschen Seite.
When you were born, your mother told me, a hush fell over the delivery room. A great red birthmark covered the left side of your face. No one knew what to say, so you cried to fill the vacuum. I always admired you for that you cried to fill whatever vacuum you found. I began to manufacture vacuums, just to enable you to deploy your talent. The birthmark faded by the time you were 6 and had gone completely by the time we met, but your fascination with the empty and its cure remained.
Ethanol war es, okay.
I have found the ship's manifest, crumpled and waterlogged under a stash of paint cans. It tells me that along with this present cargo, there was a large quantity of antacid yogurt bound for the European market. It must have washed out to sea. God knows there are no longer gulls or goats here to eat it.
Hey, lass mich da wieder rauf. Ich irgendwie sprinten oder sowas? So mich nur, so mich auch, so mich auch. So mich nicht. So mich, so mich, so mich. So. Alter, ich tu mit jeder Taste rein so. Oh, warte. Das habe ich gerade gar nicht gesehen. Ja, hier pfeift der Wind aber. Hier falle ich wieder runter, wa? Oder? Schaffe ich es rüber? Nein, okay. Ich würde gerne sprinten, aber es geht nicht. Guck mal, das ist das, was ich von oben als Sackgasse interpretiert habe. bin mir auch nicht sicher, ob man da eigentlich lang gehen sollte. Aber okay. Oh Gott, das ist dunkel. Ah, okay. Oh, da hinten blinkt was. Ich wollte zoomen und drücke die eine Taste, mit der ich nicht zoome. Ah, okay. Hier geht's wirklich nicht weiter. Komm, komm, komm. Ach, verdammt. Aber hier können wir ja hoch, wa? Oh, da hinten ist noch ein... Okay, das ist kein Leuchtturm, das ist ein Funkturm oder sowas. Aber der funktioniert noch.
The mount is clearly the focal point of this landscape. It almost appears so well placed as to be artificial. I find myself easily slipping into the delusional state of ascribing purpose, deliberate motive to everything here. Was this island formed during the moment of impact? When we were torn loose from our moorings and the seatbelts cut motorway lanes into our chests and shoulders, did it first break surface then? When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boats, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this, to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
Heißt das, wir sind hier gestrandet und dürfen hier jetzt einfach sterben?
They were God-fearing people, those shepherds. There was no love in the relationship. Donnelly tells me that they had one Bible that was passed around in strict rotation. It was stolen by a visiting monk in 1776, 2 years before the island was abandoned altogether. In the interim, I wonder, did they assign chapter and verse to the stones and grasses, marking the geography with a superimposed significance, that they could actually walk the Bible and inhabit its contradictions?
Was ist das für ein Spiel? Wenn ich mich recht entsinne, dann ist das schon so ein Walkingsimulator, wo halt eine nette kleine Geschichte erzählt wird.
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
Heidi, da muss man sich ein bisschen drauf einlassen.
I would leave you presents outside your retreat, in this interim space between cliff and beach. I would leave you loaves and fishes, but the fish stocks have been depleted and I've run out of bread. I would row you back to your homeland in a bottomless boat, but I fear we would both be driven mad by the chatter of the sea creatures.
Ah. Sicher, kannst ja mal überlegen, was es mit den Dingern hier auf sich hat. Das ist wieder... Ja, das ist wieder die gleiche. Und was für Leute waren hier, die sowas an den Wänden hinterlassen? So, ich hätte schwören können, ich habe hier vorhin irgendwie ein Funkgerät oder sowas gehört. Oder hab das nur ich gehört? Wird schon Dinge. Ja, ich höre immer Dinge.
I've become convinced I am not alone here, even though I'm equally sure it is simply a delusion brought upon by circumstance. I do not, for instance, remember where I found the candles, or why I took it upon myself to light such a strange pathway. Perhaps it is only for those who are bound to follow.
Tja, so, er hat auch schon Wahnvorstellungen. Da waren doch Schritte. Ich schwöre, ich habe gerade Schritte gehört. Gerade auch ziemlich düster hier. Düster und ruhig. Das waren deine. Nein, da waren noch andere Schritte. So 2, 3 Schritte, die waren schneller wie meine Schritte.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my ordnance survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
Da hinten blinkt schon wieder. Aber das blinkende Licht, da könnt ihr auch sehen. Ist irgendwo was Interessantes? Das ich natürlich auch nicht erkennen. Okay, da hoch oder da hoch? Ach guck mal, das ist nur eine Boje, die da blinkt. Ich glaube, wir sollten weiter in die Richtung, wa? Ich würde trotzdem gerne wissen, ob hier noch was ist.
All night the boy has kept me lucid. I sat, when I was at the very edge of despair, when I thought I would never unlock the secret of the island, I sat at the edge and I watched the idiot boy blink through the night. He's mute and he is retarded, and he has no thought in his metal head but to blink each wave and each minute aside until the morning comes and renders him blind as well as deaf-mute. In many ways, we have much in common.
Darum geht es, Kiro. Aber hier ist Sackgasse. Wow, was denn? Ich hätte das jetzt nicht besser zusammenfassen können wie er. Geheimnisvolle Insel. Wir sind anscheinend alleine. Keine Ahnung, wie wir hierher gekommen sind.